just before we start reading, just as I logged on, I saw you talking about the four sons. Just want to mention one thing about the four sons. We have the wise son, right? So the wise son, if you look carefully at Haggadah, he doesn't actually know anything, right? Normally you would think the wise son, he's like he has the answers, he has something, but he's actually asking questions. So if he doesn't really know anything more than anyone else, what makes him the wise son? Right. So the one of the things we learn from here is, in fact, every one of us is at certain times, at least in potential, any or all of the four sons. As the Torah is a product of Hashem's infinite intellect, it's infinitely deep. And the more you know, the more you realize how little you know. And no matter how great your Jewish education is, everyone at a certain point is going to be in a situation where they're like the simple son, and we go, what is this? We can't ask a detailed question. It's just like, what is this? Or possibly at the point of the son who doesn't even know what to ask. And, it's just, we're so out of our depth. And we're totally out of a comfort zone. The question is, what happens next? So one approach is the Rasha, the wicked son. He so to speak, he's the kid who gets out, so he takes his bat and ball that everyone's playing with and goes home. I'm not part of this. I don't like it. I'm out of my comfort zone. I'm not happy. I'm going. And the wise son, what makes him wise is not that, as we said, not that he has any answers, but when he's out of his comfort zone, he says, please teach me. What are the laws? What are the details? I'm willing to work at it and learn something. And even though I'm out of my comfort zone. So, not that my blessings are necessarily worth anything. Yes, they can't hurt. But, we bless everyone here that should always be that wise son. Should always be pushing yourself to get to that, to the edge of the comfort zone and beyond your comfort zone, and being that wise child, and just keep learning, keep growing, and keep having desire to learn. And that's our goal. All right.
Rabbi, can I say one
Yes,
thing?
please do.
Every time I watch a class, I'm out of my comfort zone. Totally.
That's good.
And it's exactly what I was going to say. It's great. It's great. It's a challenge, and I love going to the classes.
Yeah, and just speaking of comfort zone, you probably met people who say this, and it could be some people are well-meaning when they say it, but people often come up to go, Rabbi, I'm not so observant, or I'm not so involved, or I'm not so religious, but I'm Jewish in my heart. I love Hashem in my heart. Again, as I said, some people might be well-meaning. We're not trying to make fun of anyone, God forbid. But that's the equivalent of someone saying, Rabbi, I don't talk to my wife. I don't have any interaction. Have nothing to do with her. I don't do what she wants. Don't spend any time or get any presents. But it's okay. I love her in my heart. And which, of course, is ridiculous. If someone actually really loves someone, they want to spend time with them. They want to interact. They want to develop a relationship. They want to be involved. There's no such thing as loving someone in your heart and having nothing to do with someone. Now, as I said, some people make their comments. It could just be well-meaning but misguided. They don't really understand where to start. Maybe that's what they mean. So we're not, I'm not criticizing anyone, God forbid. But if someone is Jewish in their heart, or they love Hashem in their heart, then they want to do things. And, and Pesach is really the time to go. really time to get involved. A parent, a grandparent, whoever's sort of running the Seder, this is the moment where you hand over Judaism to the next generation. And I think we mentioned it before. We were saying, quite a few great people of the past have made comments along the lines of, you should think as if when you prepare what you're going to say to your children and grandchildren at the Seder, you should have a frame of mind. You should think, if God forbid this is the last day on earth, and this is my last spiritual testament, last spiritual will to my kids.
Rabbi, I want
to
to say something.
Yes.
I understand exactly what you are saying. I love my wife in my heart. I wish she was here. But the problem that I am having, it's a two-faced problem right now. Generally, it is my birthday that falls out in the middle of Pesach. This year, her birthday falls out in the middle of Pesach. Number one, she's not here with me physically.
Yeah.
Two, on our birthdays, we would generally go away for a few days. And I can't do any of that. But yet, I miss her and I love her in my heart.
Yes.
And my problem is, I don't even want to celebrate Pesach this year. Probably because it is too fresh for me.
Yeah.
It's 9 months right now.
Look, I understand, but
The rabbi was talking about somebody that could do it and didn't.
Yeah,
No,
so
I understand that, but still,
I think
the fact is in my heart.
Yes, I understand. My point was, when it's in your heart, it wants to be reflected. But I think two things. Number one is that, as difficult as it is, when we've had a loss, we need to try and, as much as possible, step into and be part of regular life. When we step out and we don't do things, it just makes it so much harder for us to be able to step back in afterwards and
No, I understand what you're saying.
And the other point that I also want to make is that, when we do a mitzvah, any mitzvah, whether it's keeping Pesach, as using an example now, but any mitzvah, in the merit of someone who's no longer with us in this world, then it's like the person's away and we're sending a care package. We're giving a gift. And, a soul comes to this world to accomplish something. And once they've left this world, they can't accomplish things like we can in this world. In this world, this is a world where there's falsehood, there's people with needs, there's all kinds of things, and small actions can achieve so much. And in the next world, the world of truth, it's hard to grow because there's not the need. And so when we do something for someone in this world, and we do a mitzvah and we give them the merit, or we do it in their merit or their inspiration, it's as if they've achieved it themselves in this world. They get the credit or part of the credit, and it's really like sending a gift. And the third point I'd like to make is that the harder the mitzvah is to do, the more precious it is. It's for example, we have a mitzvah, love our fellow Jew. Our best friend, who we just love their company, and they're just the most wonderful people to be around. It's really no great accomplishment to do the mitzvah of loving your fellow Jew with that person. The mitzvah is the person that their personality grates you under your skin, and nevertheless you treat them with dignity and respect, and you work on trying to love them. And Tanya uses the expression to love the creations, meaning that you have this person who the only positive thing you can say about this person is that the creation of God. There's nothing else positive to say, and nevertheless we have to try and bring them close with strong bonds of love. And I'm sure the people that annoy us the most, there's more positive. We could at least think of more things to say nice about them than just their creation. But the point is that the more difficult the mitzvah, the greater the accomplishment it is. It's worth something. And I think in this particular case, where because of Yom Tov is never the same without a loved one, whether we lost a
That's
parent,
for sure.
spouse, something, and I think having the difficulty, it makes it all the more precious to Hashem. It's overcoming the challenge makes it a much larger mitzvah. And if you would dedicate that merit to your wife, that would be sending her the greatest present in the next world that you ever could. And there's and
All I can say is that I will try. I have people that tell me, go away anyway. I mean, I said, why? I said, I may have the memories, but physically, she's not here. I have nobody to get effing with, nobody to go away with, nobody to laugh with, so to speak. She was my world. It would have been 49 years this past October.
well, you can thank Hashem for the 48 years. For the 48 years, it's it's what people wouldn't give when they first get married to have 48 years.
I mean,
yeah.
People don't even last that long. They're lucky if they last 10 years, some of them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
But she was my rock, my world. We did everything together. And now it's shattered, and it's very hard for me.
Yeah, I think we understand that. I'm not sure unless they go away, but I think get involved in Pesach, and to help us get involved, let's start some of these laws, and it'll help get us in the frame of mind and the so we know what we need to do. So we have number 5. So we've been speaking about searching for the chametz. So as we mentioned last week, as well as physically removing the chametz, the leaven, we're also trying to spiritually clean ourselves as well. And as Pesach is coming in, this is our last week before the break, so let's try and I'll sort of summarize as much as we can. We need to check every single place, the cracks, every nook and cranny, everything confined pockets, all these different places. And that talks about within us as well. Sometimes we might have a fault, but on a very fine level, we have to look very deep into trying to fix ourselves. Now, the night before Pesach, we do a search, right? So the custom is we use we take a paper bag, a wooden spoon, a feather, and a candle, right? It's much easier if we have a few helpers. And it's with the kids, one kid holds the bag, one kid holds the spoon, one kid has the feather, and we search now. Pretty much we've cleaned the house already, at least we hope we have. So there was there's a custom that we put out 10 pieces of bread that should be very small, not too small you can't see them, but small, smaller than an olive slice. So if God forbid we lose one, we can nullify it sincerely. It's just a little piece, and we try and use hard ones so that it crumble, or at least wrap it maybe in baking paper or something like that. So one come on the floor, and we say a blessing. Al bir chometz. It's in the Haggadahs or the Siddur, right? The blessing, and we search the home with a candlelight. We go around, and as we find things, we scoop it up with a feather. We brush it into the spoon, and then from the spoon into the bag. And eventually, the next day, we'll have these 10 pieces plus anything else we may have found with the wooden spoon and the feather and what's left of the candle in this bag, and we'll burn that on the next day. So most cities if you can't make a little barbecue or something in your own backyard to burn, a lot of the shuls have something, so you should be able to find something in the area. I think contact your local shul. We discussed the sale. The sale is a real sale. It's sold those who sell. And again, you can look on Chabad.org, and there's a form to fill out. You can sell the chametz there. And then afterwards, we nullify the chametz. In other words, anything that we've missed, that we didn't sell, we haven't searched and destroyed, and we make it ownless. That's in a nutshell. So as well as that, we really need to kasher our kitchens. It's rather complex, and maybe next year or sometime not so close to Pesach, we'll actually go through the laws of kashering. We'll be able to go to something. It's a subject that really needs to go in depth. But again, every community normally has some type of service that someone will come. It's usually some type of fee, but they'll actually kasher the kitchen if everything is clean beforehand. It doesn't normally take too long. But it's something. But it's important to do, and then to cover the surfaces that we have. All right. So let's maybe discuss the Seder itself a little bit. So we'll turn to chapter 118. Chapter 118. Chapter 118, number 1. Now we want to do our best to search after, make sure we get a good wine for the 4 cups. Now, so we have 4 cups of wine. They represent the 4 expressions of redemption that Hashem says is going to save us. A little bit later, there's a 5th expression that speaks about, sort of refers to or hints to the Messianic era, and that's why we have the Elijah's cup. But we should have a nice one they can drink, drink 4 cups. Some people, alcohol doesn't agree with them, so they have the grape juice, various things, or a mix. But that's the idea. So if red wine is available, that's the same quality as white wine. And it's just as kosher as white wine. The mitzvah it's preferable to use red wine. Right? And this is because, well, we're going to say, as it says in Proverbs, that look after the wine when it's red. Mashma, this implies that the wine is more choshev, it's more desirable when it's red. But and there's another reason why we have red wine. Reminds us of the blood. That Pharaoh murdered the Jewish children. And also in backward, sort of ignorant countries where people make accusations, it's not about the blood libels and various things. So the Jews would avoid having red wine; they would use white wine. But we want to, if we can, we want to have red wine. Number 2, tzarich tibla rishon shel karpas. So when we dunk, so first thing we do, of course, is we have our kiddush. It's the first of the 4 cups, and we drink leaning to the left. So we lean, we recline, because in ancient times the wealthy and the royalty would all recline. And on Pesach, it's our freedom. We're royalty, and so we lean. A lot of people even have the custom that we pour each other's cups. In other words, you didn't pour your own cup, because the royalty, the wealthy, you don't pour your own cup. And then not long after that, we dunk a vegetable into the salt water. This is the karpas. A lot of people they have the custom to use parsley. And this is but it's better to use celery, he says. Because it has a good flavor when it's raw. And the best of all is to use radishes. So most Eastern Europeans end up using potatoes or onions. It really depends what's available. It's anything that would make the blessing Brei Pri Adama. You know, one year, we're talking about in the 60s, the Beis Yisrael, he was a great rabbi in Israel. He 1 year used bananas. And people like in shock, you know, like, where did banana come from? So he says, this is apparently someone on the way. I didn't see them. So people ask, what's with the banana? So he says, one of the reasons that we dunk is so the children should ask questions. Nowadays, all the children are learning all the intricacies of the Seder in school, and they're expecting it all to happen, so they don't ask any questions. So he's using a banana, and all of a sudden people start asking questions. And then a few years later, people got used to the banana, so he pulled out a strawberry. Anyway, he was an interesting character in many ways, as well as a great scholar and tzaddik. But you know, so we dunk a vegetable. It doesn't really matter what we dunk. The main thing is we dunk in the salt water. Just to also mention, without sort of going through the Seder per se, but you know, one of the first things we say at the Seders is after the Kiddush is, you know, whoever's hungry, you know, come and eat. Whoever's in need, you know, come join the Seder. So it seems like a funny thing to say at that point, at least. I mean, if you made that announcement in shul, whoever's hungry, you know, come and eat. Whoever's in, you know, lacking something, come join us. Made in shul, we understand. That way people don't have a place to go. You're inviting them. If you had to go to your front door and open the door and make this big announcement, we also understand. You're putting out an invitation there. But what ends up happening is we're sitting at our table, and who are we speaking to? We're speaking to the people who are there anyway. And we're saying, you know, whoever's hungry, come and eat. Whoever's lacking, come join. It seems like an odd thing to do. And not only that, it's said in Aramaic, not Hebrew, because at the time the Haggadah was formed in the fashion we have today, developed over time, the language that people spoke was in Aramaic. So it'd be like today putting it in the rest of the Haggadah in Hebrew, and that paragraph in English. In other words, it's essential that everyone understands that. So what's so significant about it? Right? Because one of the things
I always wondered about it.
You always wondered about it? So I'm glad we're mentioning it then. Because we're not speaking about someone who's hungry for food. Because then it does make sense. What we're saying is, as we start the Seder, we say to people, whoever's hungry for spirituality, eat, you know, partake of the Seder. Whoever's lacking, we don't mean lacking food or material things. Whoever feels there's something missing in their life, you know, there's something they, you know, they're just not quite fulfilled. There's something that they feel that they're missing. Join in the Seder. You know, this is the time to to join in. And so really that's just to put the Seder in focus.
Rabbi, where do I find
Yeah.
where do I find what you're talking about? The exact in Aramaic. Where do I find that? How do I
Well,
put that into Google?
every Haggadah is going to have a different page number, but if after the Kiddush, it's like pretty much the first one of the first paragraphs.
Okay, all right, thank you.
It's okay. You're welcome. Okay. So then for the morrow, right? So we have on our Seder plate. Well, actually, maybe we should even just go back a step rather than go through the order here. Maybe we just sort of put it in logical order. So on the Seder plate, now the Seder plate, we have several items. So we have a bone of some sort. So originally it was a shank bone. Again, Eastern Europe.
I'm sorry,
sort of,
Rabbi.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Rabbi, but there's a word in the book about cellular. What is it? Cellular.
Yeah, that's celery.
Oh, celery. Okay.
Yeah, that's it's Yiddish for celery, because
Yeah, it's
karpas
written in
actually
Yiddish,
means
but I
yeah,
didn't understand.
karpas actually means celery. I mean,
Okay.
very few Jews actually use celery today. Ironically, we use something else. So we have the zroya, the shank bone. Now this reminds us about the actual Paschal lamb. Now most people aren't going to forget about it. We know there's such a thing. Why do we need something, this visible reminder? Sometimes what happens is that we can be missing something important in life, and we get so caught up in life, we don't even realize, we don't even think about it, that we're missing it anymore. We don't even notice. And you see people can get used to all kinds of things, all kinds of conditions. People in times of war, different things, and there's rationing or different things, and people, it becomes normal, it becomes part of life. People just they forget what it was like. And so it's very important for us to realize that there's such a concept that we can connect to Hashem in this way. Next up, we have an egg. So the egg represents the Korban Chagiga, was another offering that was essentially the Yontif meal. The Chagiga was the Yontif meal. The Paschal lamb was actually eaten like dessert, essentially, or seems like an odd dessert, right? We have our shwama for dessert, lamb shwama, but that was dessert. Then we have the bitter herbs, right? So the morrow, it's it's we've all had bitterness in our life to some degree. Sure, and there's no such thing as a person who only ever had total smooth sailing in life. But again, sometimes we have to really recognize it. It's not enough just to know we've had it. We have to experience. We have to grow, and this is we have some bitter herb. We of course have the charoisis. It's the apples and nuts and different things, and it's got the consistency of the mortar. I've got to tell you honestly, I've never tasted cement, but I'm sure charoisis tastes better than cement, even if it looks like the mortar. Although I always wondered, the people who carve their initials and stuff into the wet cement, maybe they're really, they thought it was charoisis, and they're really just an excuse to duck their finger in and take some. And then we have the vegetable we dunk in the salt water again to remember the tears. And it's also important to realize, on the one hand, it's not just like real men don't cry. And I mean, like it's sometimes people feel that if you're meant to have faith in Hashem, that everything's for the best. So it's like wrong to cry, but sometimes a person needs to cry. And that's again what we have.
True.
Yeah, and then many people have accustomed to have a second set of herbs that we use when we make the special sandwich. So we'll continue with this tomorrow. So Tom's got away from us, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Rabbi.
See
Thank
you
you.
tomorrow.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Rabbi.
everybody.
Bye-bye,
Zagazin.
everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Susan.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Rabbi.
everybody. What?
I called Shane and I left her a message to call back.
Told her to call on Sunday. I said,
maybe
you
she'll
call
call
on
later.
Sunday, I don't remember.
Maybe she'll call back.
It's late, Sunday is a
No, it's
whole
not
day.
late. They like to sleep late.
You leave her a message too, it doesn't matter if she works or not.